Hello, my friends. Hello, 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 hello. My name is May. I help people who deal with anxiety, depression, and trauma and confusion about healing and actually get a direction for their healing journey so they never feel like they're stuck again. Today, I'm going to be talking about something very big and can feel very consuming, just like we have no power, and that is how to deal with your mental health in a chaotic political environment. I kind of want this to be a little timeless because I want people to be able to view it kind of in any political environment that they're in that is hostile or too much, too overwhelming, you know, a very specific framework that they can use to support themselves. I'm basically creating this video because a lot of people around me have asked, May, how do you seem okay? How do you seem okay? You know, I'm a trans person. Things are really scary right now in the United States, you know, in various places around the world, but, you know, in the United States, it's pretty hostile at the moment. I'm just speaking from the trans experience for a second. It's already very overwhelming sometimes and very hard to be a trans person. And adding in hostility and violence from the state and from the culture war can feel very, very, very hard to cope with, to digest. Trans people have the highest suicide attempt rate out of any single group. It's usually 40%. 80% seriously consider it. So if you know a trans person, odds are they've thought about suicide. There's a 40% chance that they've tried to do it. I've tried to do it in the past. I'm very currently safe. I'm very currently fine. I'm feeling good. And I feel pretty calm in this current political system. And I kind of just want to share what my process is. Hopefully it can help you. But I really just want to like also name how hard it is and like that there is no perfect solution and that however you're feeling and dealing with this is totally valid and okay. So I also want to take a note and say I feel like this process really works for me because I have multiple exit plans to leave at my current country in case things get bad. I think this process can still very much work if you don't have that, but it might be a bit harder. Maybe we can lean into safe enough. You know, what is enough in this moment? This framework isn't really built to end anxiety or to feel totally calm. Maybe it just moves you a little bit closer, and that's okay. That's where we're at, right? I won't say that every single day I feel fine. Some days feel very overwhelming, very much too much, and I have to do this process multiple times a day. Sometimes you get minimal result. That's just what the work is sometimes. So here are all of these tips. Step number 1 is ground into the here and now. We're basically just trying to not think about all the things that are distressing us or, you know, feel all of this anxiety or things that are stressing us out and really just ground into the right here, right now. There's many different ways you can do this. The way I do it, ask where am I, how old am I, and what day and year it is. I like this because I just feel like it really orients me to like the very moment right here. You can always try like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 grounding technique. If you're watching this video, it probably means that you're in a safe enough space to do that. Yeah, to really just get into this moment in time. So I really just try to ground myself where I'm at and say, I'm safe. Okay? It is this time, this date, this is the location I'm at, and I'm safe right here, right now, in this very moment. As I am talking, I am safe. Step number 2 is to practice acceptance of what is going on inside me and to be present with it. Sometimes this is like the hardest part, okay? I can feel like I'm very unsafe and that things are very much not okay and that people are coming after me. I've dealt with psychosis where I thought people were trying to attack me. Sometimes it kind of triggers that. I have to like really ground myself and be like, that's not what's happening, but you still have to feel it. You can't stuff it down, right? So I allow the thoughts, you know, the panic thoughts or whatever to go. They can run their course and need to run their course and I feel them in my body, and when I am ready to, I let them go. I try not to hold on to it. My brain might go, okay, you know, this could happen, and then I'm like, I am right here right now and I'm safe right here right now, you know, and I might have to go through that process multiple times while I'm doing this, but that's just what I have to do. I sit with it, and when I talk about sitting with it, I mean not impulsively reacting to it, not doom scrolling or taking a specific action. I'm just literally sitting there, okay? I'm literally just giving my body space. Like literally, if the narrative that keeps playing out is I'm going to a concentration camp, I'm going to die, I let that play out, okay? Like it's that serious, you know? But I let it play out. I let it just run its course. Feel all the feelings that go along with that. I don't try to change it. I let them be what they are. Eventually it quiets down, it lessens, right? And then I try to let them go. At this point, I'll kind of explain how to let it go. The next point goes into a lot more why it's okay to let it go, so we'll get there. Something that I try to do is I do not let fear dictate my actions. Fear is a very healthy response. Sometimes you need fear and what it's telling you to do. Other times it is your body trying to protect you and you don't need to protect it. So because I have a safety plan and I have created plans for myself of where to go and what to do if things get bad. I can enact that plan anytime I need to. I don't need to hold on to the fear because it is not serving me. It is not helpful in my daily life to hold on to that fear. So eventually, when I'm just letting it be in my body, my brain, it lessens, okay? It quiets down a bit because that's just how emotions work. That's how thoughts work. Eventually, things shift, things change. You don't really stay stagnant anywhere. Maybe you can stay stuck for a period of time, sometimes a very long period of time, but usually not just there forever. And with this fear, you know, it's our body being like, girl, it's unsafe, we gotta go, we gotta do certain things, we gotta get out of the fear, get out of the danger. We really have to discern, am I safe right now, okay? Am I safe? Okay, I can let this go. I'm actually safe in this very moment right now. I can let the fear go because the fear is trying to mobilize me and the fear is not what's needed right now. And I'll tell my fear, when and if the time comes, I'll let you lead. I need to enact the plan. But until then, we don't need to do that. Number 4 is letting myself experience other things in fear, such as happiness, joy, and gratitude, and not feeling like it's a bad thing to experience that because there are bad things happening in the world. This can also be a very hard one. Let me explain some reasons why. In this work, I think we're not just trying to work against what we don't want. We're trying to build what we do want. Because like once liberation from oppressive systems happens, like what do we do? You know, like what is our world like? So like this weird mix of like dismantling what is and also like trying to work towards what we want. We can use, I think that things like joy and gratitude and connection are tools to fight oppression. Because when we are disconnected, when we are sad, when we are fearful, like who does it serve? Who does it serve when we are fearful about what's happening inside of us, around us, when we disconnect, when we isolate, when we run away? Who does it serve? And this isn't escapism. This isn't not acknowledging what's happening. It's acknowledging it and choosing intentionally to still embrace joy and calmness and happiness. Because that is what a part of what we're fighting for and what we're trying to build and grow more of, while also dismantling what is and holding all of the hardness, all of the bad parts, all of the heaviness. It's a lot to process and a lot to do. I understand. That is where we're at. That's what we deal with. That is unfortunately the reality we live in. And plus, when I feel scared and sad, I use more of my energy and then I have less energy to work on defeating these fucking oppressive systems, okay? I'm trying to build a world and fight for a world that joy is revolution. That connection is a revolution because it is. Because it's going against all of the defeatism, doomerism, scaredness that makes us unable to really engage. Number 5, I remind myself of history. There's a lot of research into how movements are formed, how they sustain themselves, how they die out. Like, I think there's a very common narrative that things are getting worse. And I've heard this, honestly, kind of my whole life, that things are getting worse, that they're always getting worse. And I just don't objectively think that that's true. If that were the case, slavery would still exist. I wouldn't be able to be a trans person making this video and being out in daily life. Neurodivergent people would be locked away still. And I get it, the bar is on the fucking floor, okay? The bar is on the fucking floor. That's the bare fucking minimum. I completely acknowledge that. And it isn't liberation. It is not where we want to be. It is not liberation, but it is a direction, okay? It is something. And throughout history, there are specific points where minorities or oppressed people become more unsafe, less unsafe, where they take specific actions, they do specific things, create specific outcomes. Time usually when this group of people is not attacked upon, things are more settled or more safe. Things are just never stagnant, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And that there's been many revolutions and many different movements. It's hard to hold all these things at once. We're holding what's happening inside of us, we're embracing joy, we're thinking about history, we're doing this, we're doing that. It's hard, okay? Completely acknowledge. It can be a long process sometimes, but I think it's ultimately very worth it. Number 6, look at the communities, connections, and places where I am not only accepted but embraced for who I am. As a trans person, it's very easy for me to go to a specific place on the internet and find people who want to kill me, or think I'm mental illness, or whatever you could probably think of that's horrible. And I've seen it, I'm just scrolling on the internet and I'm like, oh, there it is. But there are a lot of people who support me and like embrace me and want me to be alive and here. I don't think the greater media wants us to believe that, and they're trying to suppress places, that are like that. Like, I don't believe most of the world actually wants me dead. It serves the powers that be and the institutions that exist and the power structures that exist that they make us think that way, but I think most people just don't care. I think most people just want to live their lives. People in power often will try to divide us, make us believe there's this group or that group that's the problem. I just try to do the opposite of that. Basically just trying to combat the fear taking over that everyone wants to kill me and that everyone's bad. Number 7 is leaning into community and into these places. Really not just like observing them, but, you know, leaning into communities are not just about Doomerism or are very scared. Maybe they are trying to focus on like more of the joy and connection while also holding the hard parts. The hard parts are hard! And that's not all we have to focus on. Number 8 is getting involved when I feel I have the capacity to. Now, I have chronic illness. I have chronic fatigue syndrome, so I'm a lot less active than I used to be. But I pretty much always take the time in my personal life to have conversations with people, to educate them, you know, lead them towards liberation. You know, I have a degree in gender studies, and I just constantly am like reading and thinking and living my life. So I try to, you know, talk with other people all the time. Basically, try to build the world that I want to exist. If I didn't have this chronic illness, I would be probably a lot more active when I feel like I'm able to. So I just want to say, if you don't do much because you can't, that's okay. That's by design. It's literally by design. When we're exhausted and always thinking about work, we can't do the actual work. I get involved when I can, have the conversations when I can. And number 9, and the final part, inevitably, when the fear creeps back in and the hard feelings and thoughts come back, I start the process again. That was a lot. I feel like it happens much more quickly than that. I feel like all of that can happen in like a minute or less. If 10, 15, 30 minutes, like sometimes that is kind of the thing, because I might have to repeat steps or start over multiple times because fear will come back into my body. I have to try to calm myself down again. And that is just what it is. When I remind myself all of these things, I feel like it just really grounds me and gives me the direction I need. So I hope this helped. I really hope that you can kind of find your own way to like deal with all this, because all this is fucking hard and ridiculous. No one should have to be in a political system that is toxic, that is harmful, and yet here we are. This is what we experience. Feel free to subscribe, hit the like button, and tickle the bell if you want, so you can always get notified of when I do things. I'm gonna go eat because I need to eat, and I will see you in the next one.